Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there. And it is time for the 49ers Week 6 Game Day Checklist. The Niners have a really tough battle ahead this weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we'll be going over all the things that the Niners must do to get the win. And of course, stick around until later in the show because John Lynch isn't ready to write off a 49ers trade deadline move just yet. But of course, before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So on Thursday, we got some updated news regarding the wide receivers. Ricky Pearsall did not practice on Thursday, but apparently still has an outside chance to play. I think at this point, you probably just got to hold him out and let him get completely healthy, especially considering Juwan Jennings was back at practice on Thursday. He was limited, but it does seem like he'll have a better chance to play this week than Ricky. We also got some good news with Alfred Collins and Mac Jones. They were each limited in practice on Thursday, but it seems like they're both trending towards playing. Mac didn't throw very much in practice, but has said that he's, quote, saving throws for Sunday, end quote. So presumably he's going to play, right? We'll see if today's practice report has any surprises on it, but if I had to guess right now, I think we'll see no Brock Purdy, no Ricky Pearsall, maybe no Kevin Givens, but everyone else will go. That includes Malcolm Mustafa, Juwan Jennings, Mac Jones, Kalia Davis. I'm feeling optimistic about that set of guys. Now, let's get right into the action and talk about the 49ers Week 6 Game Day Checklist. As always, I've got 3 things that the Niners are going to have to do if they want to get the win on Sunday, and that starts with late game execution. The Buccaneers have built their entire season so far on huge clutch plays made late in the game by the offense and the defense that have led to wins. If I'm not mistaken, all 5 of their matchups so far have been decided by one score in the final minute of the game. And they've won 4 out of those 5 games. I mean, it does not get much more clutch than that. They're very similar to the Niners in that way. This is just kind of what they do. They pull you into a close game, and they just outplay you down the stretch. Both of these teams love to play close and play gritty and to win. I've said this before on the show. There are teams who find ways to win in this league, and there are teams who find ways to lose. So far, the Niners have largely found ways to win, but so have the Buccaneers. Watching these two teams try to do that against each other should lead to a really, really exciting game, especially in the fourth quarter. I don't think anyone would be surprised if this game went down to the wire and ended with a score in the final minute of the game. So the key for the 49ers, in my mind, this is the most important thing to keep in mind, right? The key for me, execute in those high leverage spots. The Bucs are so good at making the game-winning play. The 49ers need to be better. So that is the first item on my checklist, late game execution in all phases. Now, next up, I've got a goal specifically for the defense. Break on the ball. Baker Mayfield is an aggressive quarterback. He's a bit of a gunslinger, right? He loves to fit the ball into tight windows, and he is one of the best in the league at it, right? He's not just throwing passes willy-nilly. He'll give his receivers chances on 50-50 balls. He will get aggressive. He'll throw it into tight coverage. He tries these throws very often, and he completes them very often. So the 49ers need to take that away. You know, if he throws a ball in a 50-50 chance into contested windows, if there's a ball in that area, Niners defenders need to break on it. They need to get aggressive, go for interceptions, stick your hand in and break up the pass, jump the route, get your hands on as many Baker Mayfield passes as you can in this game. Baker's a great quarterback, so this is not going to be easy, but he will give his receivers chances to make those contested catches. And if he's giving the receiver a chance, that usually means that the defender has a chance too. So the Niners need to make the most of those chances. Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Fred Warner, Marquise Siegel, and the rest of the defense as well. These guys have to step up and start making plays on the ball. Incompletions are great too, right? That's always nice. Maybe a tip drill, that would be great. But if the Niners can get a pick and maybe even 2 on Baker Mayfield, then this game will have a completely different feel to it. Now, that'll be easier said than done, right? This pass defense still does not have an interception on the year, right? And they don't have much pass rush to kind of lean on. So it'll be all up to the secondary to make some impressive plays and take the momentum away from Tampa. And last but not least on the game day checklist, the Niners have to win the special teams battle. If there was any weakness for the Buccaneers, it's their special teams unit. They are 31st in the NFL in special teams EPA, or estimated points added. The Niners rank 20th, which is kind of just below league average. Chase McLaughlin, for context, he's the Buccaneers kicker. He hit like a 60-plus yarder against the Eagles in Week 4, and yet the special teams still cost them that game, thanks to a blocked punt that ended up going for a touchdown. And when the Bucs played Seattle last week, the Seahawks started at the 50-yard line nearly every drive. It was insanely good starting field position. The Bucs, they've got a good kicker, McLaughlin, the former 49er. He's playing pretty well, but the rest of their unit is a mess. It doesn't feel real, but I think the Niners can legitimately use special teams to their advantage. We saw that in the Rams game, right? With the Niners taking advantage of a missed kick, a blocked extra point, and a kickoff penalty by the Rams. They will need any sort of advantage they can get from Tampa Bay's special teams unit. Good starting field position, empty possessions for the Bucs, maybe even that elusive special teams touchdown, right? Regardless, this is a clear weakness for the Bucs, and if the Niners do come away with a win on Sunday, I expect the special teams to be part of the reason why. I think all they really need to do is just not screw up, right? Let the Buccaneers be the ones making the boneheaded mistakes. So that is my Week 6 game day checklist. Late game execution, break on the ball, and win on special teams. That's all it's going to take for a 49ers win. But what do you think? Was there anything that I missed? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, for our next segment, let's go over my 3 key matchups for this week. There's a lot of matchups that I think will impact this game greatly, but I wanted to narrow it down to 3. And I wanted to highlight some ones that you might not have heard much talk about otherwise. We know that the Niners receivers, whether it be Juwan Jennings or Kendrick Bourne, they're going to have to get open. And the corners are going to have to cover, right? Renardo Green, Deommodore Lenoir, Upton Stout, these guys are going to have to lock it down. And Mac Jones is going to have to play well. We know all that stuff. But what about some matchups that aren't getting the attention? Well, I've got 3 today, and let's get right into it. My first matchup features some pretty big names, but I've heard barely any discussion about it. Mykel Williams versus the Buccaneers All-Pro left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. I have not heard anybody mention this matchup, and I think it's one of the most pivotal ones of the entire game. Now, I don't blame people for skipping over this one, right? Tristan Wirfs is arguably the best offensive lineman in the NFL today. He missed the start of the year due to injury, but he's back on the field now and playing as well as ever. Wirfs is like, he's a super athlete. He's as close to a young Trent Williams as you could possibly get. He's a phenomenal run blocker and a phenomenal pass blocker. So I'm sure most people expect Wirfs to kind of have his way with the rookie Mykel Williams. But here's my thought. I think if the Buccaneers' run game gets going, it's going to be very, very hard for the Niners to win this game. But I think if the Niners can force the Buccaneers into this more pass-happy type of mode, I think there's more of a chance, right? The ball just kind of flutters weird in the air sometimes. It just does. But the key to that is the defensive line, right? Alfred Collins, Jordan Elliott, and especially Mykel Williams. Mykel is going against the best of the best in Wirfs. If he can show up, make plays, and set the edge against Wirfs, I think he can do it against anyone. And that is a huge deal for a young player who's still getting better every week. So this is a huge litmus test for Mykel Williams. If he can do anything this week, I will be impressed, especially as a pass rusher. That'll be something to watch for sure this week. Next matchup to discuss, we're going to go from the big names to the very, very small one. Jake Tunges versus Servasia Dennis. Now, I'll include the Bucs' legendary linebacker Levante David in this matchup too. It's Tunges versus the linebackers, right? The Buccaneers linebackers have been terrible in coverage so far this year. Levante David has allowed 18 catches for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns, good for a 118.9 passer rating allowed. PFF gave him a 39.7 coverage grade. That's one of the 10 worst in the league. And Servasia Dennis, the other linebacker, has somehow been even worse. He's given up 21 catches, 331 yards, and a touchdown this year. That's good for a 133.2 passer rating and a 28.2 PFF coverage grade, the worst in the NFL for linebackers. This is a huge weakness in the Tampa Bay defense. Shanahan excels against good linebackers. Imagine what he's going to do against two of the worst coverage linebackers in the NFL. I expect the middle of the field to be peppered with targets all game long, and I want to see Jake Tunges have a big day against those two linebackers. Tunges is clearly the better of the two tight ends as a pass catcher. He's got better hands, he's more athletic, and he offers more yards after catch opportunities. We've seen Kyle draw up some screens for Tunges, some dump-offs, and some longer developing routes, so I think this could potentially be the breakout game for him. The Niners offense is going to definitely need to lean on the passing game yet again this week, as they are going up against Vita Vea and that vaunted Tampa Bay run defense. And with the wide receiver room still being absolutely barren, this means it's Jake Tunges' time, right? The linebackers can't cover. Tunges has been pretty good so far this year. Expect a big week from Mr. Jake. And now I've got one more matchup, and we're flipping back to the Niners defense for this one. It's D. Winters versus running back Rachaad White. D had 3 fantastic weeks in coverage to start the year. And then he had one game against the Jaguars where it was just okay. And then there was a terrible game against the Rams. Dropped picks, blown coverage. It was just not great from D. Winters. And he's going to have to bounce back this week because Rachaad White could sneakily be the engine of this Buccaneers offense. Bucky Irving, the starting running back, will in all likelihood not be playing Sunday. But White, who is the backup, looked really good against Seattle. Early in his career, he was best utilized as a pass catcher, right? Dump-offs, screens, etc. And they do still love to use the running backs in the passing game, but White is playing like a true 3-down back right now, and D. Winters is going to have his hands full with White. Shutting down running lanes, covering the flats, blowing up screens. I want to see dominance from D. Winters against the Buccaneers, and we know he can do it. He was absolutely flying around the field earlier this year, and I want him to get back to that and keep Rachaad White in check, because I think that will severely limit the Buccaneers offense as a whole. So those are the 3 key matchups to watch on Sunday. Mykel Williams versus Tristan Wirfs, Jake Tunges versus Servasia Dennis, and D. Winters versus Rachaad White. Are there any other matchups that you're looking forward to watching? Any that I should have included in this video? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, for my last segment, I want to talk about some comments that John Lynch made on KNBR on Thursday. This time around, he was talking about the trade rumors that have been flying around San Francisco. And specifically, Lynch was asked about potentially trading for an edge rusher, and he said this, quote, "We'll see. I'm having a lot of conversations, a lot of good and productive ones. It is a premium position, so teams don't like just letting those guys out the door when they're good football players. You have to identify the right guy who, number one, is going to help us," end quote. So not even a day after Kyle Shanahan poured some water on the trade rumor flames, John Lynch is back out there with some flint and steel lighting him back up. I'm glad these conversations are productive, John. Hopefully that means that he's getting somewhere with one of these deals. Looks like Kayvon Thibodeau will probably be off the market after the Giants got a big win over Philadelphia on Thursday night. Man, how fun is that? This league looks wide open right now, and to me, that is yet another reason to get aggressive and capitalize on this great start. So that is all for today's episode. Who do you think gets the win on Sunday, the Niners or the Bucs? As much as I love this Niners team, I think this is the week they meet their match. I think that this game is inevitably going to be a thriller, right? But I do have the Buccaneers winning 31-27. Let me know down below what you think, and let me know if you enjoyed. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you next week.